Hello all you whiskey fanatics, this is Mark from WhiskyWhistle.com bringing you whiskey review number 7. With us today is none other than Laphroaig from the Isle of Islay. And we're going to talk a little bit about the distillery, and then we'll move on to the flavors, the nosing, and the tasting of this excellent single malt Scotch whiskey. First of all, what's in a name? Laphroaig. So even though it looks a little bit funny when you look at the label, you might say Laphroaig, or however you might say it. Laphroaig is the correct pronunciation. And from the Isle of Islay, which is to the west of the Highlands in Scotland. So interesting. This distillery was also founded in 1815. Wait a minute, 1815? That means it's their 200th birthday, well, their anniversary. My goodness, good timing on my part. And in fact, their big birthday is coming up on the 24th of September. There's a big event happening, so keep watch for that. Anyway, let's have a look at the can together first. Very standard cardboard can with a aluminum top and bottom, and neat little black and white screen printing there on the front of the distillery. I'll just read that to you. By appointment to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, distiller and supplier of single malt Scotch whisky, D. Johnson & Co., Laphroaig, Isle of Islay. Laphroaig Islay single malt Scotch whisky, aged 10 years. The most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskies, established 1815. Distilled on the remote island of Islay off the west coast of Scotland. 750 milliliters, so you're getting an extra 50 milliliters in the bottle, and 43% volume, so that's quite nice. It might be better if it were 46. However, 43 is definitely an improvement over the bare minimum. So that's great. And on the back, let's have a look here. Laphroaig, and it gives you a pronunciation guideline here. F-R-O-Y-G, Phroaig. Laphroaig single malt Scotch whisky has always kept itself a bit remote, like the islanders of Islay themselves. A touch aloof at first, but make the effort, broach acquaintance, and you'll have a warm and genuine friend for life. Take it neat like a stalwart, or with a splash of soft water. Roll it around on your tongue. Release the pungent, earthy aroma of blue peat smoke, the sweet nuttiness of the barley, the delicate, heathery perfume of Islay's streams. Close your eyes and imagine the waves lapping Laphroaig, the beautiful hollow by the broad bay. Product of Scotland. To find more out about Laphroaig, visit www.laphroaig.com. Okay. And Islay also looks a little unusual when you look at the word I-S-L-A-Y. When I first saw it, I thought Islay or Islay. In fact, Islay is the correct pronunciation. Okay, let's move on to the bottle. Very classically shaped, very simple label with white features and a green color. Why is that? With a green bottle, they don't really have to worry so much about the color of the whiskey per se, so they can present that at a more natural state. Interesting. And well, a little bit of marketing too. It sets them apart from the rest. And I have definitely come near the end of this bottle. Unfortunately, this is a very, very complex, very unusual whiskey, and it requires a lot of thought and numerous tastings to kind of crack that code, the mysterious code that is Laphroaig. And on the front here, nothing else very different from the can. We'll move on to the back. There's a little note here that's new, so I'll read that to you. In the making of Laphroaig, malted barley is dried over a peat fire. The smoke from the peat gives Laphroaig its particularly rich flavor. Laphroaig is best savored neat or with a little cool water. Okay, interesting. Now, what else can I tell you about this distillery? So it's located at Port Ellen, and this area is famous for a couple of reasons. One of which there was a distillery there that I think has long since closed, called Port Ellen. So another famous Islay distillery that has gone silent. And secondly, what is it about Port Ellen? There's a commercial malter there. So a lot of distilleries from Scotland and from other parts of the world will buy peated barley malt from the Port Ellen maltsters, as they're known. What else? It's no longer an independent brand. This one is owned by Beam Suntory. Beam meaning Jim Beam. Suntory, well, we're talking beer and spirits, among other things. And this in turn is owned by Japan's Suntory Holdings. Now, it seems as though they've left this distillery pretty much on their own to continue as they always have. So that's good. Perhaps they could maybe work on things like the natural presentation of the whiskey, making sure there absolutely is no colorant added. It does not say that on the label, so we should assume that there is a little bit of coloring in there. Secondly, the chill filtration. Even though this is Islay and this is a peaty, smoky whiskey that needs a little bit of oil, so it's probably only lightly chill filtered, but it'd be better if it weren't at all. So hopefully they'll revamp that sometime. Takes time though. Let's be happy with what we've got with this fantastic whiskey. So Beam Suntory, they've held this brand, I believe, since 2011. And we've talked a little bit about the Prince of Wales, the connection there to the royal family. And in fact, the 15-year-old is his favorite. This is the only distillery that has the royal warrant at the top there. So that's interesting. And as they've stated, and as I'll repeat, it is the most richly flavored single malt whiskey from Scotland. This is certainly debatable. It is definitely a very, very complex, very rich, very fantastically flavored single malt whiskey from Islay. Let's have a look at some pictures together, okay? And that's John Campbell. Whoops, so we'll start with the first one. There's our bottle there, the 10-year-old. Full bottle. Wish I had a full bottle. I'll have to go shopping again soon. And next we see the stills. They have an odd number of stills, 7 in fact. Usually they have pairs, multiples of 2. And next we see the malting floor. So they malt the barley themselves, and I believe that is John Campbell, the master distiller, who's doing the deed there. And one of their warehouses. This is good that it's actually still in Islay. Good news. Lots of great old whiskeys there, I'm sure. And the distillery from the outside. Not the best photo, sorry. We'll wait for it. There it is. So there's the distillery, and you can see a bit of a pagoda there, and that's where they do the malting. And last but not least, Mr. John Campbell. Thank you, sir, and congratulations on your distillery's anniversary. Okay, let's carry on here. We'll pour ourselves a nice little dram. I think I've only got about two left. This is available here in Korea. If you want to know where, you can send me a comment, and I'll give you some details. So first of all, the color. So that's quite a pale gold, isn't it? So again, if any, very little colorant in there. We'll assume there is a little bit. and nice legs that form on the glass. You get a little bit of beading around the top there, so that also tells me that there is some oil present, and some heavier compounds like proteins. Anyway, cheers. Let's see how this smells. On the nose, you're going to get a big waft of a peat smoke. What does peat smoke smell like? Well, it smells like many things. Bonfires, campfires, smoky bacon. In this case, hospital bandages. So the smell of the bandages as they're being wrapped around your arm or something. My mother, in fact, likened this to a kerosene bonfire. So a bonfire that has been doused with kerosene to get it going. That's something that we did way back when. Shouldn't do that these days. And yeah, lots of this fiery, smoky smells. Something here from Korea. I get a hint of the fire-baked sweet potato that is really popular here. They're wrapped in foil. You unwrap them, and you get a bit of a smoky, sweet flavor coming through. And ripe apples. So not the sour kind, but the very sweet, sweet apples that you get towards the end of the harvest. And it's also quite spicy. I'm picking up nutmeg or something like it. And after I smelled this a few times, I thought, Chinese sweet and sour sauce. So that's interesting. A little bit of a sour, sweet smell. Quite a wonderful, complex nose. Anyway, let's taste it together. And it's smoky through and through. A little bit peppery. And a little touch of sweetness, not much. A little bit of brown sugar there. Bitter grapefruit, not the sweet pink ones. The bitter and astringent, clear or yellowish ones. There's a hint of some oaky vanillas there. And it really hits all parts of your tongue. The sweet areas near the front, the sour and bitter towards the back. And when you drink this neat, the finish is extremely long. In fact, it may last until morning, even after brushing. Anyway, there's still something spicy there in the finish. Kind of a cinnamon-like flavor. You know, that sweet, slightly bitter note. And it's quite astringent. And I also liken this, to a little bit of something like the grapefruit rind. If you chew on that, and you get the oils from the skin in your mouth, and they tend to stay there. So I feel a little bit of that grapefruit rind sort of flavor, and definitely that peat smoke just carries right through from start to finish. Quite complex, quite wonderful. This is really a fantastic single malt whiskey from Scotland, and it is really a typical style from Islay. Laphroaig is known for that sort of hospital-ish scent, which they've apparently they call it like a TCP, which is an ointment that is used on wounds, which has a kind of a sweet minty, smoky kind of a scent to it. You know, camphorish. Anyway, with water, I just added about 4 milliliters. With water, that smoky edge really drops down, and you get a little more sweetness coming through. And the bourbon casks that they use come through with water. So some caramel, vanilla, honeyish sort of scents. And let's taste that. With water, the peppery character recedes, and I think I mentioned this with Talisker, but something about the peat, with the way it works with water, it just reminds me of the very heavy, dense, brick-like rye breads that are available in Scandinavia and Germany, with a few caraway seeds thrown in there, and a light layer of some nice Danish butter, perhaps. Forgive me if that sounds a little pretentious. And again, there's still a little bit of sweetness there, not much. And something that I had just a flashback to my childhood. The scratch and sniff stickers. A little bit like the gasoline one, when you scratch that, the gasoline or the petrol sticker. Anyway, very, very interesting. And that smokiness is kind of coming through as a pine wood fire. Lots of pine around where I live in Canada. Amazing. And behind it, I've got one that's been covered up for quite a while. You can try this. You will get a big waft of that peaty note, and you might smell something a little bit different. So let's try it. Whew. Yeah, you really hit with that medicinal sort of, oh, it's like you're next to the ocean, maybe like a medic tent next to the ocean. Saltiness, and a little bit of that sort of smoky bacon sort of fragrance is coming through. Yeah, definitely try that covered up for a little while. See how you like it. Apparently, Laphroaig also does very well in some smoky style cocktails. So you can research and try those. Anyway, it's time to sign off. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Mark from WhiskyWhistle.com. Glad you came, and I can't wait to see you next time. Goodbye.